Here's my solution for an external battery for a Sony action camera that's mounted to a helmet. Here's the whole system. It consists of an adapter that goes into the camera, some wiring, a couple of connectors, and a battery cell. And here is everything you'll need. Get some wire, either some pigtails or connectors to make your own, the battery adapter, some heat shrink tubing, and of course the battery cell itself. And there is a complete list of parts in the video description below. The adapter that I use for my Sony FDR-x3000 is this one here. It's a DK-X1. I'm pretty sure that other Sony action cameras will take this same adapter, but you should check. Of course, the most important thing about this whole build is the battery that you use. At the top, you can see my old cell, which is a 2,500 milliamp hours. But the technology of batteries has developed so much in 2 years that now for almost the exact same size, you can get a 5,000 milliamp battery. My old battery would give me about 3 to 3.5 hours of recording time at 1080p, 60 frames per second. So I'm really curious to see what this new cell will provide. No matter what battery cell that you get, make sure that it has built-in protection. You don't want to get a raw cell with no protection at all. The other thing you're going to need is a battery charger specifically for the type of cell that you buy. This is the one that I bought, and I'm going to modify it, and I'll show you that a little bit later. Obviously, you're going to need a soldering gun, but also make sure you get some flux. You'll definitely need that when it comes to soldering the wire to the ends of the battery cell. You're going to have to figure out how long of a wire you're going to need, and then go ahead and solder those leads right onto the ends of the battery. Here you can see I've looped the red positive wire to act as a strain relief so that it won't pull on the soldered connection. Go ahead and put your battery into the heat sink tubing and then heat it up. You can see here I'm using an industrial strength heat gun. A regular hairdryer I'm not sure would put out enough heat to shrink this really thick tubing. Once you're done and you've let it cool down a little, go ahead and trim it off. Just be careful not to cut the wires or nick the battery. Next, I soldered on the connector to the battery leads. Make sure you don't use too much solder here, otherwise it won't fit into the connector housing. Here you can see I'm going to use some black silicone to completely seal the ends of the battery cell to make it waterproof. And here's how it looks when it's done. Notice that I've already put on some 3M dual lock for mounting the cell to the helmet. Next, you're going to have to cut the wire for the camera adapter and use your ohm meter to make sure you know which is the positive wire and which is the negative wire. Now you will have to modify your camera just slightly. You can see here you need to grind 1/8 of an inch channel for the battery adapter wire to come out of the camera. Just keep in mind that this means that the battery compartment is no longer waterproof. Oh, and you might have to cut the edge of the battery adapter in the corner, as this shows. Here's the battery charger that I bought, but I pretty much cut the whole thing off except for where the circuit board is inside. Here you can see I've used some really small heat shrink tubing to protect the wires and to act as a strain relief. Then I filled up the inside with silicone to protect everything and to hold the wires. This charger is powered by a USB plug, so now I can not only charge at home, but I could charge it in my car when I'm on camping trips. Now you just need to put some dual lock on the back of the helmet for the battery cell. And the reason I mount the battery on the opposite side from the camera is that it acts as a counterbalance. You just need another piece of dual lock at the front for the camera. And as you notice, I have my dual lock lined up with the camera mount so that I have perfect alignment every time. I'll also put a piece of Velcro on the back of the connector and the helmet to hold the wire in place. But this also works great as a makeshift tether when you smash the camera into the handlebars and it pops off. Yes, I've done that several times. Just to show you how I mount my microphone, it just slips underneath the cheek pad. I have a piece of tape with a hole in it that goes right in where it snaps on, and that holds the microphone in place. And I know I'm going to get a bunch of questions about how I made my camera mount, It's just an 1/8 inch piece of aluminum that I bent up to the contour of the helmet. The little holes that you see there are just lightning holes just to make it a little bit lighter. And I used some 3M dual lock to mount the camera to the mount itself. And it works great. And there you have it. And I got to tell you, having this external battery is so much better than trying to figure out when your battery is going to die in your helmet. Should you stop? Should you change the battery? Am I getting the footage? It takes care of all of that, and you could just shoot for hours with no worries. Don't you just hate listening to me say the same thing over and over and over at the end of the video? Yeah, me too.